You've done listing presentations, but often the urgency of showing a home means a buyer consultation can wait. Not anymore, as it's become the industry standard to do both. What can you do to make your buyer consultation spectacular? I'm Dan Elzer, founder of the Training Academy. I have over 37 years in the real estate industry, spanning roles from agent to owner, and now as an executive coach and consultant. Let's take 5 minutes to discuss some strategies for conducting a buyer consultation that sets you apart and effectively highlights your value proposition. The market dynamics have changed, so it's essential to differentiate yourself. With a strong value proposition, you can avoid being commoditized. That's where the lowest fee becomes the deciding factor for buyers. Here's how to ensure your buyer consultations are impactful and convey your worth effectively. First, recognize that conducting a buyer consultation isn't fundamentally different from preparing for a listing. With the mandatory buyer representation agreements, it's time to bring the same rigor to the buyer consultation. When presenting to buyers, don't jump straight into determining if they're pre-approved or working with another agent. Instead, take the time to understand their needs and concerns. Just as you would research a property and the market conditions for a listing, you need to understand your buyer's motivation, fears, and requirements. Your consultation should make the buyer feel understood and valued. This approach builds trust and allows you to tailor your value proposition specifically to their situation. Remember, providing a solution that addresses their unique needs is far more effective than a generic sales pitch. Once you've gathered enough information through discovery, present your value proposition clearly. Explain how your services will address their specific needs and help them achieve their goals. This is where you differentiate yourself from other agents. Part of your value is your knowledge. Use the consultation to educate buyers about the market, the buying process, and what to expect. For example, if a buyer is nervous about the market conditions, take a little time to explain the dynamics of a buyer and seller market and how to navigate them. By doing so, you'll position yourself as the trusted advisor. When it comes to discussing fees, do so with confidence. If you demonstrate your value effectively throughout the consultation, the buyers will be less likely to question your fee. Present it as a natural conclusion to the value you've provided. Remember, buyers are willing to pay for services they perceive valuable and essential to their success. Finally, when introducing the buyer representation agreement, relate it to a listing agreement. Take them through the agreement step by step, reinforcing how it formalizes the value you've already discussed. By framing it this way, buyers are more likely to see it as a necessary and beneficial part of the process. Putting together a successful buyer consultation requires a shift in mindset. It also requires a commitment to discovering and addressing your buyer's needs. You can differentiate yourself in a competitive market by treating the consultation the same way and with the same importance as a listing presentation. Lead with discovery, educate your buyers, and confidently present your value proposition.